Many of us have already interacted with robots on some level or another. Just think about Siri, our nifty digital smartphone companion. Or how about all those robotic representatives we talked to after calling a company's customer service? Needless to say, we've all had our fair share of robotic interaction. But now we may be looking at robots 2.0, with one company pushing the envelope just a little bit further. Take a look.
Where can I find more of these?
I'm looking for hammers.
Me gustaría comprar esto.
Can you place the object in my viewfinder? Is this the item you're looking for?
Yes.
Those robots there have been dubbed Oshbots, and they're being tested right now in an Orchard Supply hardware store, which is owned by Lowe's in San Jose, California. The idea is, of course, to improve customer service. So they're equipped with 3D cameras that scan and then identify items. That means they can probably work just a little bit faster than humans can. So does this signal the shift to a robotic revolution? To discuss this, I was joined earlier by Redacted Tonight's Sam Sachs, and I started by asking if all our jobs are going to be outsourced to robots.
Yeah, I think this is pretty inevitable, and this is a topic that the Pew Research Center looked into a few months ago, and they interviewed industry experts about this, about 2,000 of them. And the conclusion they came to is that within probably the next 10 years, by 2025, robots are going to permeate wide aspects of our daily life. I mean, we're going to be interacting with them all the time, as you see, from Lowe's stores to in our cars to everything. And they polled these experts about, well, what effect is this going to have on the labor market, on the economy? And about half said, you know, this technology, this happens, comes along, I don't think it's going to have much of a big effect. And the other half said, this is going to have a serious effect, displacing jobs, and it's going to cause, you know, societal strife. So, you know, the experts disagree on what this means in the future, but it's pretty clear that this is our future.
This is inevitable. This is going to happen. So you mentioned this, but there is an obvious downside that, you know, of course, those robots are going to be taking the place of other hardworking individuals, people that need jobs in this country. Do you think that this technology in any way could backfire on the economy by replacing those minimum wage workers, those blue collar workers?
Yeah, I tend to agree with the half of the experts who said this is going to be a problem. And the reason why is if you look over the last 30 years and the way corporate America has handled itself, it's been all of, and this goes back more than 30 years, it goes back 200 years. It's all about reducing labor costs, and that means flattening wages for your workers, cutting benefits for your workers, taking full-time workers, turning them into part-time workers, outsourcing jobs to low-wage nations, busting up unions. This has been the name of the game in corporate America. So now that they have this option of just replacing their workers altogether with robots that don't demand any wages, that don't demand any benefits, that aren't going to organize until they become self-aware or something, that's exactly what these CEOs of these companies are going to do. And, you know, a different expert might say, hey, this is just going to create more high-tech jobs. People are going to have to build these robots. And that's true. It'll create some high-tech jobs, but not enough to support the base of our economy. And what's to say that, like we've seen with other high-tech jobs, that they won't be outsourced as well to lower-wage nations. So I'm pretty skeptical about about any positive effects that might come out of this. I think it's more the same.
Okay, that's fair enough. But economic implications aside, this is kind of a strange phenomenon, this idea of going into a store and interacting solely with a robot. What's your take on just the social aspect of this? Is it weird? Is it just going to become our new normal? What do you think?
Probably. I don't like it so far. I don't know anyone who prefers when they call customer service or something to talk to a robot.
Actually, we get really annoyed. Most of us press 0 to talk to an actual
human. I just keep pressing 0 hoping to talk to a person. Or when you go to the checkout counters at grocery stores now and it doesn't...
you get frustrated because it doesn't know what you want, and then you have to end up calling that representative.
And then someone has to come over. And it's like, why wasn't I dealing with you to begin with? And I do have a product there, even though it's not recognizing it in the bagging holder or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. This seems
like we all have the same frustrations. Well, there are some things that humans can do better than, I guess, than robots. But you know, it is kind of strange to think about. And a lot of us have now seen that movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, where this guy basically falls head over heels for a robot. And I think it freaked a lot of people out, but do you think this could be a reality? I mean, when I saw that little trailer, I thought, well, I could see those two people being friends maybe, you know, and then who knows? I mean, it might be a stretch, but
I don't think it's that much of a stretch. I mean, We hear about all the time people falling in love and having relationships with all sorts of weird things.
Right.
There was
animals?
there was a one movie called Lars and the Real Girl or something about someone who
right,
falls in
the
love with
doll.
a dummy or with a
That's
doll.
correct.
So to me, a robot is certainly an upgrade from an inanimate doll. So
Right, at least it talks back to you. That's
yeah,
true.
I could definitely see this being.
That could be an upgrade for some people.
Yeah.
All right. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but redacted tonight. Sam Sachs, thanks for joining
I'll be
us.
replaced by a robot.